This is the Original Sin, the Collective Intelligence Network.
And welcome to the Collective Intelligence Network, the Original Sin. Here all sinners, Collective Intelligence Network, network agents, can engage with the gospel, great orations spoken publicly, expressing learnings. With the support of our saints, suggested artificial intelligence network thoughts, and our church, cyborg humans using reasoning collectively harnessed. We're here to explore and solve problems all together. Let's go. So sinners, in today's episode, I'd like to talk to you about something which I've dubbed creating the United First Nations entity. Now, First Nations people are our elders, as it were. They were origins, I guess, for many of our current present-day cultures. In 2022, UTS had a Sustainathon challenge put on by the Tater organisation. And in 2022, it was the first time they'd actually done it in Australia and New Zealand. Previous to that, they'd been doing this overseas, and the Tater organisation would align with corporations, and then those corporations would posit a challenge, and then that challenge, a problem, would be posited to university students, and then university students would go ahead and try and resolve that problem and come up with a solution for it. So I was drawn to one in 2022, the UTS 2022 the Sustainathon Challenge. That is a mouthful, Sustainathon, which basically was it was by Ethan Indigenous, and it was how do we get modern Australia to walk in two worlds? That is the world we currently have, our contemporary world, and also one that acknowledges and understands the 250 different countries that were here pre-colonisation. And it was meant to be group work, and I was the only one in the group who did any work. And so I got highly commended for what I came up with by the university. But not only did I put it back into the university, I also put it out to federal ministers. And I did hear back from those federal ministerial officers. And I'm still working through this whole process, though it is a massive challenge. The overarching nutshell view that I came up with is that providing economic advantage for First Nations people by commercialising their IP. I've gone a long way down the track with all this. However, during my journey, which is still underway and concurrent, I came to contemplate the opportunity that could exist, wherein, say, for example, you got from the 250 different countries or mobs that were here pre-colonisation, representatives from each of those, and then they could form what would be the United First Nations of Australia. And then you could go and do a similar thing with the Maoris and the Inuits and all other First Nations cultures around the world. And this would be an adjunct to the United Nations. And so that when there are issues and things that are on a global sort of scale that are being trying to work through, then I think we could incorporate the views and the understandings and the knowledge that our elders from our First Nations communities could bring with their way of viewing things in the world, culturally, historically, and contemporarily as well. So I think that by creating something like this, we potentially could provide much better inputs and outputs for our problems that we have on a world level, on a world stage. And after all, if they are our elders, then we all come from somewhere. And I think that's a missing part and piece of our world stage, as it were, with respect to hearing those voices. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is something that should be done? Do you think this has some merit, has some value? Please put your comments down, spit in the spittoon, solve your problems with individual thought. I'd like to hear what you have to say, and this can be the gospel, great orations spoken publicly, expressing learnings by you. This is the gospel according to Stephen. I'm just one person though, because as we know, all of us are smarter than one of us. And I'd like to hear from the collective out there, hear what you guys have to sort of say about these sorts of ideas and concepts. And what you think we could do better. And then once we have enough of those things in the spittoon, I then would like to get our saints to come in, which would be suggested artificial intelligence network thoughts. And so it could go through and have a look at all the things that have been brought up, have been mentioned, and then go through and cross-reference, discover insights and knowledge, and then put that back into our group, our collective, for human eyes to be able to go over and decipher and determine and validate and pick up errors where the AI might have gone off track slightly. And it would better inform us as a collective to then come up with ways to move forward as a society. I really, really do want to get you guys involved in what I'm trying to do here at the Collective Intelligence Network. Come on, become a sinner. We need more sinners. And welcome to the church. And if you've got a smartphone, then effectively you are a cyborg. So church is cyborg humans using reasoning collectively harnessed. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for participating. And I will see you in the next one. Bye now.